Hello there everybody, Jason here. I got another top 10 for you. This top 10 is going to cover one of the granddaddy systems of all time, one of the systems that started all, the very first popular system ever, and of course I'm talking about the RCA Studio 2 with its black and white graphics, its keypad controllers, and its huge library of 11 games. This, probably nobody even knows about this system, but this is what I'm talking about anyways. What I am talking about is the Atari 2600. Came out when I was just a wee lad. I was, well, it came out in '77. I didn't really start playing it till about 6-7 years old. Great system, very limited graphics, but a lot of fun to be had. I have about 450 games for the system. A lot of them boxed right behind me here, and then some loose ones over on that shelf. So let me get started on my favorite top 10 games for that system. And at number 10 is Wizards of War, arcade game. This remake is actually real well. It doesn't have the sound and voices from the arcade, but all the actions there, all the challenges there. This is a really good two-person game too. You have a lot of fun. Either you try to kill your opponent or you play together and try to get as far as you can. Great game, great game. Number 9. Dodjem. This game is two cars, well, your car and computer cars going around in opposite directions, and you try to get all the, I guess, the dots without crashing into the other car. It's very challenging fast, a lot of fun. Once you figure out a pattern, you can get farther and farther in the game. Just a really fun game. There's a Sears version too called Dodger Cars. It's the same as this though. Number 8. There's going to be a lot of Activisions on this list. This is the Decathlon, or the Activision Decathlon, however you say it. It's got the 10 events from the Decathlon, and it's a lot of fun. You don't hit the button real fast like in a lot of sports games. You got to jiggle the joystick to pick up speed, hit the button to whatever, release the javelin and everything. A lot of fun. I always like doing all 10 events. Really fun game. Should be part of your Atari collection. And here we are at number 7, another Activision game, Enduro Racing game. A lot of fun. You race throughout the whole day, and you have to pass a certain amount of cars in that day to get to the next level, and each time you do, it gets harder and harder. The cars are farther spaced between. Every time you hit a car, you get knocked farther back. Sound effects are pretty cool too. A lot of fun. One of my favorite racing games, I shouldn't say of all time, but of early systems. A lot of fun, that game. Number 6, another Activision, is River Raid. A lot of fun, just playing, shooting, flying down the river, shooting everything that's in its way, getting fuel. Just keeps going on, gets tougher and tougher. Of course, a lot of games like that, that's all you did, just kept going further and further, all about score and everything. Really fun game to have. And now we're in the middle here, another Activision title, Keystone Keepers. I love this game. Lots of challenge. You gotta try to get the escaped prisoner before he gets to the roof. You're the cop. You gotta dodge all these things that show up: planes, bouncing balls, radios, shopping carts. Again, each time you capture them, you start the level over. It gets harder and harder and harder. Definitely one of my favorite games. Definitely made the top 10. Number 4, some people really don't like this game, actually not an Activision game, is Raiders of the Lost Ark. A lot of games back then were all about high score, get farther, high score. This was one of the first games I actually played that actually had an ending. It wasn't about getting the high score really, it was about finding the Ark. Once you figure out how to do it and you get further and further and then you pass it, the quicker you pass it, the higher your score was. I believe the higher on you'd have to pass it to know what I'm talking about. But this is a fun game, one of the few Atari games that actually has an ending. Number 3, another Activision game, another real challenging game, is Megoh Mania. I'm trying to think how many levels. I think there's 8 levels, 8 different boards in the game. It's just a shooter game. You're a ship on the bottom. You're shooting things that are coming down. Each one is different. If you make it all the way through, you get to the dice level at the end. It repeats, but everything gets a lot harder fast. So each time you get through all the levels, it gets a lot harder. It's a lot of fun, very challenging game. I don't know how far I got, but it's pretty tough, so it's hard to get far, but it's a fun game, real fun game. Number 2, this is a game that anybody can pick up and play this game. If you have never played this game, you're missing out on just pure fun. I'm talking about Kaboom here. Another Activision game. Kaboom is just some barrels, some guys dropping bombs. You gotta catch the barrels before they hit the ground. It just gets harder and harder and harder. It's fun as heck. I mean, anybody could pick up and play this game. I mean, anybody. I let when my kids were real little, we played this, try to see if they even get to 100 points and everything. Of course, if you get to 10,000 points, the guy at the top, his face changes expression to a, what is he surprised you actually got 10,000 points. Need the paddle controllers for this one. If you have an Atari 2600, you have to have this game. I mean, just the way it goes. Number 1 is not Pitfall, which I think a lot of people would at least have in their top 10. I really like Pitfall. It's really tough making these top 10s, by the way. A lot of games could have made it that didn't. But this was a surefire number 1, is Pitfall 2, the sequel. Everything about this game is fantastic. It has music in it, which a lot of Atari games didn't have, so you got a nice musical score playing throughout the game. Unlimited lives. Your goal is to get to the end where the lion is, but the goal is to find all the gold, the ring, the kid, everything you can without falling or dying, and get the perfect score, which I've never done. Anybody who's played this knows at the end you have the gauntlet with all the condors and bats, and I've gotten close, and then I'll make one mistake, bat will hit me in the head or something, and all the way back to a checkpoint. And so I've never got a perfect score on this. I've gotten close. One of these days I actually will. Another game that has an ending. I mean, it does keep score as well, but you want to try to get to the end. Great sequel, came out towards the end of the Atari life, so I don't know how many people really ever played this game, but I think it's way better than Pitfall, which is a great game. But this is my number 1 game for the Atari 2600. So there you have it. Hope you enjoy the list. Probably disagree or agree with some of these games. That's fine. I don't know how many people out there really play the Atari, or people my age did, but other collectors in their 20s and early 30s, I don't even know if you even care about the system. But real simplistic games, but a lot of fun. So you should at least try out these games that I picked. So hope you enjoy the list. I think the next one's going to be all these lists are tough to do. Next one's going to be the PlayStation, I think, and that. There's a lot of games that can make the top 10. That's going to be tough, so I'll try to get that one up. Hope you enjoy it. Leave any comments, and thanks for watching.